Morning everybody, Wednesday the 29th of September, and our top story is that the Army could be driving commercial tankers by the end of this week to ease supply problems at petrol stations.
The industry says there are signs the situation is improving, but the number of fully stocked forecourts remains well under half of what it would normally be. Ramzan Kamali has the latest.
The government has approved the training of Army personnel to use fuel company tankers to take place over the next 3 days. This means they could be making deliveries to petrol stations by the end of the week. The move comes as some in the industry and government say there are signs of improvement, but the picture across the country is still mixed.
Am I relieved? Yes, absolutely, because I'm a care support worker. So yes, I'm very relieved that we've got petrol. I need to work. I'm a self-employed carer, so I need to work. If I don't have petrol to get around, I can't earn money.
According to a government source, at the weekend, just 10% of all petrol stations were fully supplied with fuel. Now, roughly 16% are fully stocked up. But before the rush on fuel, that figure would be closer to 40%. The government and the industry want motorists to fill up their tanks normally. But what does that mean? According to the Petrol Retailers Association, before the crisis began, a driver would typically spend between £25 and £30 on fuel per visit.
During this long weekend, it's been way over that, double that, if not more. If we can just get back to that £25 to £30, then I think we're going to see the equilibrium, the balance between supply and demand, start to improve every day as we go forward into this weekend.
The problems at our forecourts since the start of last weekend have highlighted a weakness in our supply chain. The challenge now for government and business is to make sure there are enough deliveries in all industries during the run-up to Christmas. Ramzan Karmali, BBC News.
Vitamin A might be able to treat the loss of smell that occurs in some people who've had COVID-19. The University of East Anglia is starting a 12-week trial to see whether vitamin nasal drops could repair damaged nose tissue. Volunteer patients will be asked to sniff powerful odours such as coffee, rotten eggs and roses.
Volunteers welcome. 3 minutes past 6. Sir Keir Starmer will promise today to get Labour back in business when he delivers his first speech as leader to a live party conference audience.
He will pledge to train thousands of teachers and cut waiting times for mental health services. But rows between the leadership and the left wing of the party have dogged the conference, as our political correspondent Helen Catt explains. I should tell you her report does contain flashing images.
Sir Keir Starmer is preparing for his big moment. This will be the first conference speech he's given in person as Labour leader. He'll use it to say that Britain is facing big questions, like how we emerge from the pandemic and deal with climate change. He's expected to say that politics needs to grow to meet the scale of the challenge, and to accuse the government of falling short in its handling of the fuel shortages at petrol stations. The speech comes at the end of a party conference which has seen Sir Keir clash repeatedly with the left wing of his party. One shadow minister resigned. A trade union ended its formal link to Labour after more than 100 years. Sir Keir is also under pressure to attract back voters who've drifted away from Labour, and he's clear what the priority is.
What's more important to you, unity or winning?
Winning a general election. I didn't come into politics to vote over and over again in Parliament and lose and then tweet about it. I came into politics to go into government to change millions of lives for the better.
Aides say the speech will demonstrate how the party has changed and will be a clear indication that it will never again go into an election with a manifesto that isn't a serious plan for government. Sir Keir will unveil some new policies too. He will say that Labour would make sure that anyone needing mental health treatment in England gets it within a month. And he'll pledge to take on thousands of extra teachers and increase the number of outstanding schools.
Lady, just have a quick selfie, please.
The speech is also an opportunity for Sir Keir to tell voters what he stands for. He's expected to talk about his background, his values and the principles behind his politics. It's an opportunity many in the party hope he can seize. Helen Catt, BBC News, Brighton.
Now, more gene-edited crops could soon be grown in England as the government plans to relax regulation.
Yeah, gene editing, which alters plants less than genetic modification does, was strictly controlled under EU rules. Here's our science correspondent, Palab Ghosh.
It looks like any other tomato, but it's been genetically edited so it produces more vitamin C. Under the current regulations set by the European Union, it's hard, if not impossible, to develop commercially in the UK. But the government wants to change the rules and have simple gene-edited plants regulated in the same way as new varieties produced by traditional breeding methods.
Gene-edited crops have potentially so much to offer in terms of agricultural sustainability and healthy foods. Of course, nobody is arguing that they should not be regulated for safety and environmental compatibility. That goes without saying.
Campaigners protested against genetically modified crops in the 1990s when they were first being tested out in fields. There were concerns then that they may not be safe to eat and might harm the environment. But gene-edited crops are different, say the scientists. They have much smaller genetic changes and produce varieties that could have been developed by traditional crossbreeding, but in months rather than years.
GM crops are GM crops, whether they're gene edited or use older genetic modification techniques. I think people still want to see really good safety assessments for both human health and the environment. They want these products to be traceable and labelled so they have a choice and that the products can be recalled if anything goes wrong.
Gene-edited farm animals could be next. These pigs have had a gene removed that prevents them from getting a common form of lung disease. Today's announcement could mark the start of a new generation of genetically produced crops and animals. Palab Ghosh, BBC News.
Fresh tensions have surfaced between Britain and France over post-Brexit fishing rights. French fishermen are accusing the UK of being slow to grant permits in its territorial waters. An announcement's expected today on the issuing of permits around Jersey, where you'll remember that dispute erupted earlier this year and prompted the intervention of the Royal Navy.
The former model and TV personality Katie Price has reportedly been arrested after she was involved in a car crash in Sussex.
The 39-year-old is currently serving a driving ban, and her family say they have concerns for her well-being and overall mental health. Our reporter Aruna Iyengar joins us now from our London newsroom. Aruna, you've been looking into this. What have you managed to find out?
Well, Katie Price was reportedly in a car crash in the early hours of yesterday morning near her house in the Sussex area. Apparently she was arrested and charged on suspicion of drink and drugs driving. According to reports, she wasn't seriously injured but was taken to hospital for various assessments. What was interesting, though, was her family posted on her Instagram account saying that, making a statement saying they were concerned about her well-being and had been for some time. They also referred to the crash and said their worst fears nearly came true and added that she can't battle her issues on her own. The statement went on to say the family weren't looking for any sympathy but requested privacy at this time. So Katie Price, they're obviously having a very hard time at the moment, but obviously also concerns that she has been arrested on suspicion of a serious crime.
Aruna, thank you very much indeed. Aruna there reporting the arrest, no charge, of Katie Price.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.